Welcome, my friends, to the video for April 2023. This time I actually made quite some updates to the tank, as well as some great progress with the Cyano issue I had. If you follow the channel, please like and subscribe if you like the content I show on that channel here. And one very prominent thing I had last time was a lot of cyano on the sand bed especially, and I'm very happy that all that cyano is more or less gone now. It didn't really went away without any kind of issues, and I did definitely several things to remove them. I probably make a little update video about everything step by step that you see. Like all the learnings I had, and that you can, depending on if you have a similar issue, can maybe try similar things. But in this video it's more about kind of the big picture, and I can let you know, not to kind of let you wait till all the way to the end of the video. In the end I used the red slime remover. It's a product not really similar, or at least from my research, not really similar like the ChemiClean, since it acts a little bit different than ChemiClean. ChemiClean apparently goes against all the bacteria, including the cyano, and the red slime remover. Couple big points of that one is you add it to your tank, but you don't have to do any water changes afterwards. So that was kind of very, I kind of liked it that you don't have to make a water change, because if you have to make for a product almost a 25–50% water change, then probably what you put inside your tank is not the easiest on your system. So I kind of like that one, that you don't have to do any big water changes. And also apparently, and I'm obviously not a chemist or something like this, but they say it doesn't mess up your biological, the beneficial bacteria. So, and also you can still have all kind of macroalgae inside. I'll show you a little bit later. I also added something to the refugium, or I actually added a refugium. And that was another point. I don't really want to remove all of those things, just when I add certain chemicals. But as you see from the sand bed, I'm probably in 3-ish days, 4 days. They say you should at least wait a week before you would even consider repeating it. But when you look here, I had really everywhere cyano. That's kind of all completely cleared. Maybe here on the side somewhere you see a tiny little bit spots, but everything else is pretty much clean. Sand is again nice and white, and especially also on the rock, or at least where you still see the rock, because I have now already that much coral that you sometimes barely see the rock. All that cyano is gone as well. Also here on the back, if you remember, that was all completely full, all gone. Without actually removing any more of the substrate, because you can obviously, what you can also do is just every week siphon it out. But that's not really a ideal situation, because you just run out of sand then in the end. Yeah. But I'm happy about the progress. I actually tried up a couple things, and again I make another video where I describe of those things. But why I actually kind of started to become a little bit in a hurry is because that's it's kind of like a short polyp Ganipura down there. It stayed inside, it didn't came out anymore, and it definitely also had cyano on the top. So I kind of thought like, okay, if now the cyano slowly starts bothering my corals, I maybe have to act, and I don't have the option to wait several weeks to see if Microbacter 7 and all kinds of other things are actually working out the very, very natural way. So that's why I kind of went a little bit the faster route. And yeah, follow the channel. Let's check in then next month, month after. And if I don't have any negative outcomes out of it, maybe it's something you want to consider as well for your tank. What else I changed is I actually removed, as you see here, that left and the right island, as I call them, are full of corals. And I had actually some of the colonies, that big green here in the front, I had that hidden there behind, against the back wall. And I just kind of like the idea to have just two islands and nothing really around it. You see, even when I go here to the back, that's now all nice empty. It's kind of a crazy, crazy growth. Let me see if I get a good angle here. Crazy, crazy growth of that Montipora cap here. Like it almost forms like a bowl or a vase, or however you want to call that. And it obviously would shade anything I would put here behind, but there's not really anything I have to put there behind. I added here certain corals on top, just also kind of to slow down a little bit the growth of that one. The Stylophora I added before, now I put there all the way in the back. You guys see that? On the top, the red one, it's a Jason Fox Red TNT Anacropora, and it actually almost fills out my whole aquarium up to 80–90%. So I'm now very, very close to the water surface. But still, I'm still a little bit behind here. Just not that my ReefLed is frying than the coral. But I have to say, these ReefLeds, they are so good lights for my tank. I really had a lot of different lights in my last 6 years of reefing, and they're probably not the strongest, but they have such a spread and such a, I don't know, like it's just such a gentle distribution of the par, because I get in the middle or upper area, I get like around 250 pars, but even on the sand bed, I get like 200 pars, only like 50 less. So it's kind of almost like the product actually advertised, kind of a reef safe product. It's not something you can maybe go for, like, I don't know, like these ultra high-end acros where you need to have like 500 plus par or whatever kind of. Maybe you wouldn't get the deal done with those kind of lights, but they just work beautifully for my SPS Montipora dominated tank. Obviously, I think that's something you should in generally keep in mind. Everything I do, all my experience I make here with my tank is actually only based on keeping Montipora or SPS corals. So if you guys are into, let's say, octopus and anemones and all kinds of other corals, soft corals, things, then maybe a lot of suggestions I give you here on the videos wouldn't maybe not even really apply to your tank. So always kind of look the videos for the tanks where you have like the same corals, or like if you say like that's your tank goal, that you have a tank that looks similar or identical to mine and you want to keep the same corals, then definitely all these actions and experience I have could be the same for you. But for example, with the red slime remover I used here to eliminate my cyano, I think somebody somewhere in a review said that he had issues then with his anemones, and that's possibly a thing. Maybe they also had some other issues. But I would obviously not experience that since I don't have any anemones in that tank. What else I changed with my corals is there was, as I said, that other big green chunk here I placed on top of that, of those actually almost 2 Montipora colonies here on the right side. And it's just kind of to slow down the growth a little bit, just that they not take over the whole island or tank like I have here on the left side, done by that green one. So just kind of to slow that a little bit down. Yeah. Then I also have some sad news. It's maybe 1 week, 1.5 weeks. It was definitely almost before my Cyano issue even started. My Mandarin Gobi passed away, sadly. And I had him for about 3 years. I had him even in another tank before I moved him then into that tank maybe 2 years ago. So I had him maybe in a total of almost 3 years. And when I bought him, he was already an adult Mandarin, so he was probably already 1 year old or maybe even a little bit older. So I was not sure what was happened because the tank is actually filled with copepods. Always in the night when you kind of check here the sand bed and everything, there's copepods definitely everywhere. And he was also eating all kinds of other food all the time, so I don't think it was a food issue. But then when I actually looked online, I saw that a lot of people say that these Mandarin Gobis, especially in captivity, only live around 3 to 4 years. Some people say 2 to 3 years. So there's a lot of different numbers you hear in some of the forums. But the total lifespan could be up to 10 years, but that's only in the wild. In captivity, it's much, much less. And so maybe it was just kind of he died then from age, because he just kind of slowly hanged out there in the sand bed. And I was actually I found it a cool thing, because usually he is always hidden somewhere hunting for the pods. And the last couple of weeks I was always seeing him on the sand bed, looking for pods there. And I actually found it's cool that I finally see him, but he maybe just kind of got a little bit weaker and weaker, and then at one point it was just too late for him. I immediately took him out when I see that he kind of drifted a little bit sideways. I put him quick in my other tank here, in my frag tank, just in case I have to feed him or do something special with him, that he is out of the big system and I don't have an issue getting him out then later. But it was then actually within 1 or 2 days where he actually then passed away. Yeah, sad story. I don't plan to exchange him with a new Mandarin Gobi or something like this. I still have like definitely enough fish in here, so no need to actually get something new there. What I did get new is actually in the sump, and let me here open quick the sump and switch on the lights. Because what I got new is a RedSea Reefmat 500. I always had issues with my Caribsea. I still have that one here. I probably tried to sell them that one. So that was the Caribsea Gen 2 here. Because I had an issue with the controller, and even I tried to get a replacement controller. Customer support from Caribsea, I think it's done by Aqua Illumination in the US. They actually didn't really even want to give me a new controller. They had like just a million questions, and my approach was actually, guys, I would even pay for that controller. It's not even that I want to have something for free. I would actually like to buy something from you guys. But it was a couple of times forth and back, and I thought like, well, okay, so try to fix it myself. And I Actually was able to fix it, just that it still works, but I can just not manually extend the roll or something. But that one, I can tell you, that is just really a solid piece of precision here, that RedSea. Like it just fits like a glove in that system. Also, the connection or the way you connect it here to your pipe, it could not have been easier to do that. That was really an easy process to put that in there. And just from exchanging filter rolls on the other one to putting that filter roll in, it was like, it was so much easier and so much more intuitive. I can definitely only recommend that one. Then also the little facts that they have a compartment underneath for your carbon where you can put it inside. The design and the sturdiness, just when you kind of touch it, it feels like very high quality. It obviously has its price, but it's definitely one of the better pieces of gear inside my tank here. And since I changed the filter roll, you see I had here a lot of space underneath. So what I actually did was one of the racks I had left for some of my frags, I put down here together with a ball of Chetomorpha, algae, and some of the pieces and chunks of coral I had to cut off from my big tank here. I had to cut off, or some of it actually fell off, just to not throw away. I put it here inside together with a ReefLed 50, the one I had from the RedSea Max Nano here, which I exchanged with the AP700 Castle. So I have now that light here, and I have a little refugium. And the little water circulation you see here, that's actually the exit of my UV sterilizer. So I placed the exit from that one, by the way, sterilizer is here. On the right side, I placed that exit here down below, just to make a little bit more water flow in the area. But I mean, I only have the Chetomorpha there and some easy to keep Montipora coral, so together with the general flow of the sump, that will be definitely fine. So I added that refugium out of two things. One thing is actually to try to battle a little bit the the nutrients in the tank. So just that I bring them down without adding any chemicals to the tank. The light is actually now, as you see, off because it's daytime. The night is only on in the night time, so it's kind of an offset cycle. That cycle should help me bumping up the pH a little bit, or at least keeping it a little bit more constant. So it did already a little bit, but I have to say, I mean, it's obviously one ReefLed 50 is not the same powerful as two 160s. It definitely didn't need a big change, but maybe then when the Chetomorpha is growing, maybe then it has a little bit a bigger impact. But again, two things, helping with stability for the pH and helping with getting the nutrients of the tank under control, especially the phosphate, to kind of keep that a little bit down. Yeah. But again, filter mat, anybody who has a chance and has a budget to put that in your RedSea Reefer, especially obviously when you go with the brand RedSea, it's definitely something I highly would recommend for you guys to add. Since it fits like a glove, and I had a couple, well not couple, but I had the Caribsea, I had that clear filter as well for a little time. And here and there I checked out some of the sumps who have actually Filterrollers integrated. And my opinion, it's definitely one of the best, if not the best one you can have there. Another thing I actually had to change is, the good thing I had the Apex system. So one day the tank tells me like my pH goes down more and more, so I checked my alkalinity, and the alkalinity was definitely down. Then I checked my dosing pump, where I have my All-For-Reef, which works like a charm here since probably almost 3 years. I use that exclusively on my tanks. I actually saw that the pump head, it's a peristaltic pump, so that means that pump is squeezing a tube constantly to create the flow rate, then to for the All-For-Reef to flow through the tubing. And that one was so worn down that it barely moved any All-For-Reef in the tank anymore. I actually saw that because I have a little timer on the dosing container, so usually after 20 days it says like, oh, go and fill up the All-For-Reef, and that's actually true. The last 1 or 2 months there was always a lot of solution left, and I actually didn't even really thought about it, but that was obviously because the pump was feeding less and less All-For-Reef, and yeah, catched it. I was able to just turn the tubing inside the pump head, the peristaltic pump head, and use it still a little bit in time to order a replacement head. I got that from Coral View, I think, coralview.com. It's a very good website because it gives you a lot of spare parts for some of the things you would usually not get even from BRS and stuff like this. So they have a lot of spare parts, and since I like to kind of work sometimes on my reef gear by myself instead of constantly sending it in to the different companies, that actually worked out perfectly. I think it was $12 I had to pay and got a brand new peristaltic pump head. I put it in place. I don't know if you even can see it from here. It's there, the Camo X1 new pump head. I also added that fan here just to get a little bit more airflow, especially into that chamber 2 here on the side, because I have now the light inside, and I knew obviously the LEDs, they are not getting as hot as T5s or metal halides and all kinds of other lights, but they still have some heat that comes off, and I added the fan there just kind of to add some circulation to the sun. But that's it. I definitely did a couple things just in a month. As I said, if you like the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Then you see in a month or in 2 months, I try to make monthly update videos if my experiment with that red slime remover was successful, and if you have similar issues, which every reefer here and there most likely has, sooner or later, then you can decide for yourself if that's maybe something you want to try for yourself as well. Let me check, did I do an update on the Max Nano? Not really. I stopped exchanging the water between the 2 tanks here, because I didn't really want to introduce any Cyano inside. So that's why the frags are pretty pale again, but just they have so good growth, so I don't longer worry. And you see, like in the middle there, that green slimer, all these additional branches all grew in that tank. So obviously something the tank is doing right, that it's actually growing it. It also stayed very, very clean here, the tank. I think I cleaned that the last time probably 1 or 2 months ago. Just here and there the glass, obviously. But it stayed very clean, so not much to do on that tank, which I like. Definitely hit me up if you're interested in any coral frags here from the little Max Nano. And I think that's a wrap up. April, it gets sunnier and sunnier. I love it. I like the summer. I don't really like the cold. And we see us in about a month.